All right, welcome to VMware Explore 2024 Barcelona Day 2. John, the announcements have been insane. Obviously, VCF 9, great. I mean, super exciting. Lots of good stuff around VMware Private AI Foundation, especially with NVIDIA. But, come on, the community. There's great news in the community.
Yeah, I saw that, VMUG is making it to main stage here, and we got some announcements. And
Absolutely.
If we're going to talk VMUG, I know who we have to have on the show.
We have to have camera pan to my good friend, Mr. Brad Tompkins. Brad, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. A pleasure to be here as always.
Yeah, absolutely. We spoke to you in Vegas, and it was a great conversation around community, which I'd love to talk a little bit about that. I think I can never stop talking about it. I think it's very important, and we can still do that. But we have a little bit more new news than we did in Vegas. So I thank you for coming back to Virtually Speaking to share some of that good news.
Absolutely. So the big news that was on main stage in Barcelona here was the evolution of VMUG Advantage and especially Eval Experience. People have been asking, how can I get license keys for home labs and those kind of things? And obviously there's been some SKU changes going on over at Broadcom. So we finally got that worked out and working with Broadcom. So if you're a VMUG Advantage subscriber, and you pass your VCP, VCF, you will get VCF for your home lab, not for production, but for your home lab, that you can use all the tools, all the bells and whistles. You can run that cloud operating model at your home. So that is the big news, and we are very excited about it.
Absolutely. So you have to take the exam, right? So you got to get certified first. Is that how it works?
You do have to get certified first, and we survey our members yearly, and they all say, "I want to get certified. I'm planning on getting certified." Those kind of things. Now, I'll be honest with you, a lot of plans don't necessarily pan out, but this is going to be good motivation for people to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So are there any carrots to help get there before? Because I remember previously, you used to have to go take a class that cost thousands of dollars, and you had to pay for this, deal with this test. What is there to make that easier that's gone through?
So I think it was in May when Broadcom announced doing away with the class requirement before you take the certification. Because VMUG members, we do this all day, every day, so they have the experience. So now that barrier has been removed. So with a $250 certification, you can go take your VCP. And guess what? As an Advantage member, you get 50% off of that. So you can save $125 off your $250 US certification. So, that just brings the price and the barrier even lower to go get your certification.
So when I did this back in the Stone Ages, I think it cost me about $5,000,
Yes,
all wrapped in. And that was
absolutely.
something that often, it really was only employers were sponsoring that. This is something that's very approachable, very reasonable, 95% cheaper, it sounds like, effectively. So.
Yeah, I have to say, it seems like, the Broadcom acquisition, it's hard to believe it's already been a year.
It is hard to believe.
But Brad, I know you've been in the trenches, we're just keeping it real, right? You've been in the trenches with VMUG, with customers and partners. Everybody initially, there was certainly fear and trembling, I would have to say, from some folks. I think a lot of that is fading in many ways. I think everyone is real. I've been to several VMUGs myself, and certainly Hock Tan is attending VMUGs. I think people are really I think the message is starting to come clear that VMware, by Broadcom, and Hock still puts the community as a high priority. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And listen, the support, and I get this question a lot, the support that we had with VMware was fantastic. And I can tell you, it's even better now with Broadcom. And I know that's hard to believe because we had support from the Gelsingers, the Ragus, all the way top down. But you mentioned Hock Tan. He's already spoken at 2 user cons this year. He was at the Leader Community event that we did a couple days ago. He did the same thing in Las Vegas. So yes, he's all over the place. And not to mention the Chris McCains that are keynoting, the Chris Wolfs that are keynoting. We get some high-powered people. In fact, the main stage had 7 speakers. 4 of those had spoken at a VMUG. So we're working on the other 3.
There we go. But that gets back to one of my favorite things about VMUG is how many people start their careers in speaking and educating and working. Sometimes finding a job in the partner community or the vendor community or at another company using VMware, they come up through the VMUG organization.
Absolutely. It's a great place to, learn your technology, but then also add to it with some of those soft skills. Maybe it's public speaking, or maybe it's, learning how to adapt your conversation based off, are you talking to C-level, you're talking to a practitioner. And one of the best success stories is a lot of people end up at VMware, and now Broadcom as an employee, or they do get picked up by a partner, or they get that advancement in their current job, and then they start to get into that leadership role and those kind of things. So it's neat to see people evolve, and, a lot of them attribute that partially to
Yeah,
being
yeah.
part of VMUG.
Certainly. I mean, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I cut my teeth on the VMUG. The very first one I spoke at was in the Charlotte VMUG, and I was super excited to be part of it. And I met so many great people at the VMUG. I started learning, and what a passionate community of bloggers, of podcasters, of communicators. It's a great group, and VMUG is basically like the mecca of all of that. It's great to be part of that. And man, I was so thankful to be invited back to VMUG to speak in Charlotte VMUG this year. That was a lot of fun. So it's certainly, I can certainly speak from experience. I got my value out of it, and like everybody else, I try my best to give back. So
I guess my question is, what's next for the events? I mean, we've got, what's the next plan?
So next year, we're already planning for user cons all over the globe like normal, but we have another big announcement. It's called VMUG Connect. It's our first 2-day event. It's going to be a regional event. It's going to be in St. Louis, April 23rd through 25th.
We're going.
So this will be
yeah.
a multi-day paid event, but we are working on the content because we know that's what really drives people there. And this is part of a reaction from our members. They're like, we need to be able to go deeper. We need hands-on labs, which we have at user cons, but you're there for an hour a day and those kind of things. So that's going to allow us to do more. And, VMUG membership is free. It's for end users, obviously. It's for partners and Broadcom employees. And our partners are telling us, too, look, the economy's tight. We need to have bigger events. We need to, something that we can really sink our teeth into. So this is how we're reacting to all the things that are going on in IT and what our partners are telling us as well. So very excited about that. Registration is going to open up later on this month. And trust me, you'll be hearing about it and you'll be getting the emails.
All right,
we're looking forward to
I'll
that.
see you
Yeah.
there. It's a short flight for me, so.
There you go.
Very good. So Brad, it's VMware Explore Barcelona. Love seeing you here. Any takeaways this week? Have you been having customer conversations or speaking to partners or anything else? What's your takeaway for the week?
Well, I think from this week, but also all the user cons that I go to, you touched on it earlier. People are getting more and more excited about Broadcom and what they're doing with VCF, and they're understanding the vision and seeing like, okay, this is where we need to go. In the past, the conversations might have been more about licensing and subscription, but when 5.2 came out, now people can talk about technology. And it's less about, CFO type conversations and more about, oh my gosh, I've got to get live patching. Oh, I can't wait to do, brownfield ingestion, VCF import, whatever the
Right,
tagline
right.
is on that one. And so that's just exciting to see. And people are, I feel like Broadcom is listening to customers, and they're changing some things. They just announced Enterprise Plus is now available. So that's something that Broadcom is adjusting. Like, all right, maybe this price, maybe this subscription, how can we make this fit for everybody? So that is good to hear. And, that's feedback coming from not only VMUG, but the V community as a whole. And VMUG's happy to be a part of it. We're certainly not the only piece. But that's what is really exciting. And then, of course, 9 right around the corner. It's great to talk technology again.
Absolutely. Yeah. You guys are obviously a big part of the community. The community is a big part of VMware. VMUG is a big part of the community. We're so glad to be part of that community, and we're so thankful that you're part of it as well, Brad. Thanks for joining us on Virtually Speaking, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks so much, guys. I've enjoyed it.